Hi guys and girls, and welcome back. So I've been looking forward to doing this video to introduce to you guys my new concept for this BDSM and Cuckold Club. Now, it's actually not that new though. It's something I've been thinking about for many years, but I've kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. And I actually wanted to do this video in response to an email that I received because I think that there may be some misunderstanding as to what this BDSM slash Cuckold Clubhouse is going to look like. So that's what this video is going to be for. It's going to kind of delve into some different activities that the Clubhouse is going to host, what it's actually going to look like, the hours of operation, where it's going to be located here in New York City, all that shabazz. So I must say, this concept actually was birthed in my mind several years ago. I was 32. My 32nd birthday, I actually went to a BDSM private underground party here in New York City. What year was this? This was back seems like so long ago. 2000. Okay, so I moved to LA from New York in 2016. This had to be like 2015, I want to say. The year that I turned 32, whatever year that was. And I was invited to this club in Manhattan, actually. And it wasn't really a club. It was more like a party. Okay, I hate when my video chops up. But it was more like an underground BDSM party. And I was invited via FetLife. Someone that I was connected to in FetLife reached out to me and said, hey, there's a munch, they call it, right? And I thought it was interesting. And I'm like, okay, why not go? And when I say, and I'm not going to really go into detail because I talk about my BDSM club experience, my very first BDSM club experience. I think the video is entitled. I talked about this like many years ago when this happened. I say many years ago because like I said, this is my 32nd birthday. I'm 38 years old now. So I talked about that in that video. You guys can go back and watch that. But oh my gosh, the experience was just awe-inspiring. It was just so refreshing, just something that I had never done before. And I just felt like, wow, I found my place, right? I felt like, wow, I found my tribe kind of thing. And that's just a wonderful feeling, like when you're around like-minded, like-spirited people. And so, yes, I felt relieved. Like, I felt like I could excel. And I want to go into too much detail because that's a whole video by itself. Like I said, I already made a video on this, but it was amazing. Like, just from the first moment I stepped foot into the place, I was like, wow. But I come to find out that it wasn't like an ongoing club. It was more so like a private kind of party hosted at this place in Manhattan. And I'm like, okay, when is the next one? I'm looking forward to like more of this. And it was just only one. So I was a bit disappointed. And then it was at that moment that I was inspired, like, okay, I want to create my own because apparently this doesn't exist, right? At least, I mean, where does it exist, right? At least not in New York at the time. So I'm like, we need a place where we could convene. We being like-minded people who are a part of the BDSM community. And yeah, I was just disappointed. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be that person. So I ended up moving to LA to pursue my doctoral studies. I finished that. I came back to New York in 2020. I actually graduated 2021 last year. But even in LA, I was just like imagining and fantasizing. I was visualizing this place that I had in mind that I wanted to create. Like I wanted to open, right? And I knew I always know it's going to come back to New York, right? So I'm thinking, okay, maybe in LA I could open it up too, though. I could be bi-coastal. And I had met like a coworker. It's funny though how like you come across people who are into this lifestyle, right? A lot of people ask me the question like, how do I just love your lives. Hi Denver, how are you? Thank you. Well, a lot of people like ask me like, how do you meet people in the lifestyle? And I agree, it's difficult to meet people, right? It's like, where do you meet them? And so it's funny because I think that it's the oddest places. So when I was in LA, I was working at this clinical site, and I just so happened to notice that my coworker was reading a book, right? And I'm like, she seemed to be like really like immersed in the book that she was reading, and so I was curious to see what she was reading, and she told me it was like related to BDSM, and I'm like, you too? And she was a white woman. And so like from that, it just opened up a whole new world of conversation between me and her that probably wouldn't have happened had I've not noticed that she was reading this book, and I was just, my curiosity wanted to know what she was reading. So I sat down and we just started talking, and she was like, yeah, I'm in the lifestyle, I'm a submissive. She was like, I'm married to this black dominant man, her master, and she lives in house with him with her sister wife, right? But she was like, we're kind of like at a crossroads where I'm not sure, if I'm going to continue this dynamic. It feels like something is in my tooth. She was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue this dynamic with him, with her, or, we're going to like step apart and go and create our own thing. Because I guess there was some friction in their relationship. But she said that they were living with this master, right, in his domain, her and her sister wife. And I was just fascinated. I was just like, oh my gosh, there's other people out here that exist like this. It's so hush hush, right? This is like what I kind of don't like about it, because people aren't as vocal, aren't as like open about it, especially when you compare it to like the vanilla lifestyle, vanilla people, or even the LGBT community, right? Like we know the LGBT community has a big presence like all over. They have annual parades, they have like just a presence. So they're more easily identifiable, whereas like people within the BDSM community, you wouldn't know, right? I mean, unless you go to certain neighborhoods, like let's say in New York City, of course, one of my favorite places to go is the Village, which is in Lower Manhattan. And so, but even that, it doesn't mean necessarily that they identify with that lifestyle, or so sometimes it's just difficult. And so she began to share with me, like, because I'm like, okay, I was wondering where the BDSM community was. And she said, well, my master, this was like this, it blew my mind. She said that her master was, I think she said, friends with the very first owner of the BDSM club in Los Angeles. And so she wrote down a list of like all these different clubs in LA where it was like BDSM, but it was more like dungeon type of clubs where like you had to like book, very expensive. You had to like book a session with the dominatrix or whatever, and you have an allotted amount of time that you get to play. I mean, I never really found those that quite fascinating, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just something doesn't seem like organic about that, right? Like paying to, I don't know, have someone dominate you, or for you to experience something, and it didn't seem like organic, right? It just seems like, okay, I don't know, like kind of prostitute, or like, I don't know, tricking, whatever. So I'm like, nah, I want something more like organic, more like community based. That to me is what kind of stood out in my mind when I came across like these other avenues for being able to become immersed in the lifestyle of BDSM. Just like, nah, it's not doing it for me. So I've always been of the mind to be self-sufficient, and if something doesn't exist, create it, right? And even if it does exist, if you can do it yourself, then do it. That's of my mind frame, and that's kind of how my dad raised me. That's what he instilled in me growing up. And so, like I said, this is something I always wanted to do. And now it's like I'm coming around to doing it because, okay, I had other priorities, given that, of course, I was working towards my PhD. That's done. So I was like, I have more time to invest in things that I really, 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 truly want to do. One of which is opening a BDSM club. So we're going to talk about that here in this video. I'm going to do a Q&A. You guys can feel free to drop any comments that you have below, questions that you have below concerning this new concept. It's going to happen. Trust and believe that. I've actually already started to scout out different locations for commercial spaces across New York. So I think I have good karma. So the universe kind of like directed me towards a really good agent, which I believe he's also the owner of these commercial spaces. He showed me a few in Long Island City, right? That's Queens, which is right outside Manhattan. In a building. The building is really nice, but the neighborhood I really didn't like too much. I actually recorded videos of these spaces, so you guys can go and check out those on my YouTube channel. I started a whole playlist, so you guys can go to the playlist that's entitled BDSM Clubhouse. I think I entitled it BDSM Clubhouse Commercial Spaces. So just look for the playlist on YouTube entitled BDSM Clubhouse, and you'll see that I gave you guys a tour of those spaces. So that was at that location in Long Island City. Then I also went to another location. It was in, where the fuck? It was in Williamsburg, I think. Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And I didn't really like that one because I'm a person of quality. The neighborhood was okay, but the actual space, it wasn't upgraded. So that I actually saw that space first in Williamsburg, and then I went over to the space in Long Island City. Two separate agents, two separate landlords, not affiliated with each other. And yeah, I mean, I like the size of it. It was spacious. You guys can see the video where I showed you guys and I also talked about it. I like the size of it. Very spacious, right? A lot of potential. You can do so much with it. But yeah, I'm looking at the flooring. It looked very old and crickety, and the ceiling, the light fixtures just looked dusty. They had a bathroom and a kitchen, and it was just not upgraded. Bad appliances, just not well maintained. So I'm just like, that's a no. The price is, pretty decent, affordable. And like I said, along the way, I'm going to be very transparent with you guys and just let you guys know every step of the way the progress that we're making, because this is not necessarily my clubhouse. This is like you guys' clubhouse. Like, this is all for you. You guys who watch and support my YouTube videos, particularly the ones on cuckolding and BDSM. So that's also what inspired me to kind of go forward with this idea, this project, because I've gotten so much support from you guys here on YouTube. And yeah, so that place in Williamsburg is a no. And someone commented, you guys can see the comment, that person's like, no, right? But the one in Long Island City in Queens, I'm just like, okay, I really love it. Nice, very spacious, nice reception area. But the view, someone commented saying that it could have a better view. So I'm taking your comments into consideration. I want to know if you've ever thought about trying out the lifestyle. I was just actually about to get into that too, because that's also what inspired, and that's actually where it all began. So let me finish this thought real quick. So yeah, the space in Long Island City is just like, I like it because it kind of set the bar really high in terms of quality, right? Of what a commercial space should look like. It should be like upgraded everything, right? I like the combination of like the old and the new, like the modern and the kind of old school look to it, the kind of antique look to it. I like when real estate is designed in that way. But yeah, it has to be fresh, has to be clean. I don't want to see any dust, right? Like, I think landlords should be ashamed of themselves when they invite potential tenants into a space and there's dust or there's dead roaches or like anything. Like, no, no, no. So that's a big red flag for me. Even when I was searching for my own residential space to live in, like those were important to me. And it seems like it should go without saying, right? Like, you want something clean, but I realized that New Yorkers have a very low standard when it comes to quality, I guess, of a living space. I don't get it. I'm from Florida, but I'm like, I don't get it. So I kind of fell in love with the level of quality of those spaces in Long Island City, but the neighborhood, it's kind of trash. It's basically the stop off of the F train. Queensbridge, I think 21st Street is the stop off the F train. The neighborhood, so the landlord told me that he has other properties, he has other spaces. One location being Dumbo, right? More trendy kind of space, more trendy neighborhood. So I'm just like, all right. He sent me some pictures, so I'm going to keep you guys updated. I have not went to tour that space yet, but like I say, when I do, like, I'm going to keep you guys updated and give you guys a full tour of the space. So you guys will help me choose where this space is going to be. But we're about to get into this Q&A. So I have Q&A here. I'm looking at a list of questions that you guys have asked. I'm going to address here in this video. Now, going back to your question, Denver, about if I've ever thought about trying out this lifestyle. I've done it. Yes, I actually got my toes wet. Probably more so my feet and my legs and my knees. I was like knee deep. Yeah, knee deep in it. Knee deep in it back in 2014. I did a video on this too, and I've talked about this kind of like intermittently and throughout other videos that I've made, where I was in a 5-year relationship with my best friend. It was just getting dry and just, right? And so I just felt a craving, a yearning for excitement. And so I took to Craigslist. This is when Craigslist had the personal section at the time. And I think I posted an ad, right? I never really would like read through other personal ads and respond. I always just create my own and get a lot of responses. And I basically was very direct, straightforward, talking about what I was looking for, and that I fantasize of being dominated, right? And being a submissive, but having not yet had the experience of, being dominated by an alpha man. And it was just a perfect timing because I was in a relationship. That's my best friend. Don't get me wrong. He's my best friend, right? Still my best friend since 2006. So that's 16 years strong. But he's just not dominant, right? And I was dating him for that 5-year period around that time, from like 2009 to 2014. And it ended 2014 when I met my master off of Craigslist. And so, like you guys see, I talk about this experience and I kind of get like googly inside, and it's just so mystical because it's just like a dream come true. And you guys who really truly do follow me, you'll see like on my website, danielleleash.com, I actually wrote a book. It's autobiographical, fantasy, fictional, which was inspired by my experience with this master that I had, right? So I have to say fictional for kind of like political reasons. But yes, it's autobiographical. It's called Dying to Submit. You guys can access that by going to the homepage of my website at danielleleash.com, and you'll see where I have a little blurb on the homepage talking about like my introduction into the world of BDSM, and I think it says like click here to kind of begin reading about the story. You'll know that you're on the right page where you come to a page on the site that says, it's been a while. Let me just go to my website. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. And I've said this many a times, but it says, okay, so I'm on my website now. All right. Oh, welcome. There we go. On the home page in the right column, it says, welcome. Danielle Leach explores the world of BDSM through her writings, and not only from a sensual and sexual point of view, but through a prudent psychological lens. Aside from glorifying the lifestyle, and yeah, that's like all fucking being PC, politically correct. But I said begin reading by clicking here, right? So you're going to click there. So you know that you have landed on the right page when you are on a page that says Discovering BDSM, right? And the date is February 16th. Oh, February 16th, 2014. We're coming up on, wow, fucking 70. No, that's 8 years. 8-year anniversary. Oh my gosh. Time flies, doesn't it? It's funny because I think like there's so much significance surrounding this point in time in my life. Given that, of course, this is like my prelude to this lifestyle, right? My very first experience, because I was a virgin at the time, to this lifestyle, my very first experience. And not only that, you guys will see as you read the story, and this is a very easy, quick read, how it's set up. It's a blog, right? It's excerpts basically from the book, because I ended up turning it into a book. But it's basically the style of a blog where there are entries, right? And so if you put 2 and 2 together, right, you think, you will see that these are real in vivo entries. So as I'm experiencing, get my drip, as I'm experiencing this, right, in my submissive role, I'm writing, because he was very attuned. That's what, oh my gosh, I miss this guy, yo. It was just perfect, perfect master. But he was very attuned to me, and I was to him too. And so he knew that I was a writer, and he integrated that, right, in our dynamic. And so you guys will see, you read the story, he had me, write about my experience, and that's how the story came about. Interesting enough, right? So he had me blog, shall I say, not video log, but blog, write out my experience, our experience, or really my experience, right? But including him on my website. And that's how my website came about, right? Before then, I did not have a website. That's how this website, Danielle Leach, came about, because he wanted me to make it public. Amazing, right? Amazing. And so here we are. So you guys can go and read that. But oh my gosh, such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. And I got a great response from people who wanted to read my story, right? They wanted to read this story. They left comments on the blog, and you guys will see. So at the end of each entry, it says to be continued, and then it has like parentheses, and click here. You click on it, and it takes you to the next part of the story, right? And so you can keep reading. Read the blog entry, get down to the bottom of the entry, and then click on where it says click here. It's going to keep going and taking you to the next one until you reach the end. You can read the entire, pretty much, you can read that entire, this entire piece, I would say, in a matter of probably an hour, not that long. It's a very easy read, and it's probably going to be a tease. It's very titillating. I was very graphic, shall I say. And it kind of, well, I guess it did get me in trouble, but I wouldn't say not in trouble. So of course, like, this was written before I started my doctoral studies, right? I started my doctoral studies 2016 out in Los Angeles, and I'm not the kind of person who like to mix like business with my personal life, right? My personal life is my personal life, but people will find information about you because they're just nosy, right? So I had colleagues, other students who were also in the program, were just searching, just looking for shit about me, right? Of course, they're white people. And so they came across my website and then like, oh, Danielle has a website with sexually explicit things on there. So they go and they bring it to the attention of administration. And then I get called in for a meeting. But I talked about this before. You guys can see where I talked about this. And I just thought it was interesting to hear the administration's response to basically my life, like me. This is me, right? And it's just like, these are psychologists, right? Being judgmental. So I knew this. I predicted it, right? Even before it happened. And that's the reason why I actually wrote this. I wrote like this blurb about this book, or my experience, or blog, shall I say, before I even started my doctor. I knew it would gain a lot of controversial discussion, attention in the world of academia. And so I wrote that statement before I started, right? Because I was like anticipating the controversy. So that's exciting. Now we haven't even gotten into the Q&A, but I had to lay like the groundwork here for, yes. I get caught up sometimes. I get like just caught up, just thinking about, damn. And I always reference that experience because it just was like no other. And we didn't have sex, right? We did not have like intercourse. But we did have sex in a spiritual sense, right? Sexual energy exchange, where we became very intimate psychologically and emotionally and spiritually. But it had to come to an end. I'm not going to say why here. It had to come to an end. So I already shared my website. My website is simply my name, first and last name. This is my government name, by the way, Danielle Leach. Okay, .com. I'm sure the chains and whips that Rihanna spoke about is looking real good right now. Funny enough, like in my first experience, like it was no chains. It's like sometimes people think that's what BDSM is about, and they completely miss it. Okay, that can be used in the activities, right? In the in the, they call it play, but for me, this is not play. So a lot of guys, I think, that I come across, especially when it comes to the dating scene, they completely miss me because they do think that it's about play. They think this is a joke. And it's a turn off for me, right? Like my master, he was a mentor. Like he really opened me up to this world. It wasn't for play. Our relationship was not. It was dead ass serious, right? Just read. I encourage you guys to read the story. So I'm going to get into the Q&A of the topic of this video relating to the BDSM Cuckold Clubhouse that we will be opening in time very soon. So I wanted to create this video because, like I said, I did receive an email from someone who seemed to be a little bit confused about the nature of what this Clubhouse is actually going to look like. I'm going to read that email in a second. But the first question that here I have in my Q&A, what type of services will be offered? Like, what's the whole point of this, right? So the Clubhouse is a membership-based private community lounge that will offer an assortment of member-catered activities, including weekly demonstration workshops. This is something I'm always going to do. I just can't wait, y'all. This is going to be so exciting. Of course, There will be like online things too, which I thought about starting online first, but it's like, no, we gotta, nah, let's, aren't y'all tired of the online shit? The whole pandemic, everything was online. So we gotta bring it to in person. Give me a second, you guys. Give me a second, cause I just thought of something. Okay. So I'm so excited to launch this. It's like, oh my gosh, just imagining the opening day. It's just gonna be so exciting. All right. So it's member catered activities, right? It's member focused. What's what you guys want? I'm going to make sure that I cater to your interests and mine too as well, including weekly demonstration workshops. Oh my gosh, I can't really go into too much detail about what these workshops will look like, but you can only imagine. Individual coaching sessions. So this is one-on-one. This is something that you guys have been asking me to create for you guys, which I know I pushed a lot of you guys like to the back burner and said, not right now, but in the future, sometime soon. Not right now, right? But you guys have been asking me to engage with you one-on-one, to do coaching sessions, right? Over video. And I'm just like, sounds like a good idea, but I never made time because I don't think you guys quite understood like where I was at in that point, right? And this was just what, 2021. We're in 2022, but yeah, like 2020, 2021, like I said, I was in my pre-doc. I was finishing my doctoral studies, and it was pretty intense. That was a pretty intense year. So I was wanted to stay focused, right? But your girl ready now, so let's do this. And quarterly retreats, and that's not limited to those activities, those including those activities. So it's going to be a lot more. At the end of this video, I will give you guys the direct link to where you guys could sign up for more information, free updates on this new adventure here. It's just, you guys, I have this like massive imagination of how this is going to look. I've already began to work out the operation and business plan, so it's definitely going to be legit. All right, moving to the next one. Is there a fee to enter the Clubhouse? Absolutely no. So the Clubhouse admission is going to be free to all of the members. However, I must say that non-members pay an interest fee of only $35 per day, which is relatively inexpensive when you think about it and you think about what's going to be included in the entrance, right? The admission of this Clubhouse. You're going to have access to all kinds of equipment, all kinds of different resources and people, shall I say. Being the biggest resource is really for networking, so being able to introduce yourself. But I have to reiterate and emphasize that this is it's going to be like a private type. It's not open to the public, shall I say. I don't know if I already mentioned that. Yeah, I did. That this Clubhouse is a membership-based private community lounge. So it's very, very, very private, by invite only. Not everyone, I have to say that, unfortunately, not everyone will be able to enter, unfortunately, because I just have to make sure that I protect the interests, the well-being, the safety of those who will be able to enter. All right, so how do I become a member? The next question. So as I was saying, membership is by invite only. So you only can be a member if you're invited, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. You must be 25 years of age or older to join. So I'm going to give you guys the direct link. It's also going to be included here in this video, in the description. So you can just click on that. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And we will go from there. So the next question would be, what are the costs and benefits of membership? That is going to be a whole separate video, so stay tuned and come back. I already did the layout, the grid for what the benefits will include for this membership, but stay tuned for that because this is its own separate video. The different types of workshops will be related to BDSM, all the different activities, right? All the different factors related into BDSM, which I made a whole separate video on the top 100 fetishes of BDSM according to FetLife. So you guys can go check out that video that I made, 100 top BDSM fetishes. So we're talking about pegging. We're talking about whips. We're talking about slave play, all kinds of things. Really no limit. No limit as to the different activities and interests and workshops. However, it's going to be very classy. I have to say this. Because, yeah, I think some of you guys have the wrong idea. Going to be cuckolding workshops, swinger demonstrations, expert talks, and more. All right, so getting to the email that sparked this video, I am going to read you guys this email that I received on January 30th in the afternoon. So this person says, saw you were wanting to start a BDSM cuckolding swingers club. I will be in support of it somewhere around NYC. It would be nice to have a safe place to meet besides hotels or other people's homes. How can one give you support? Now, I like that they're thinking along the right lines, right? Like, of course, this Clubhouse would not be able to exist without you guys and girls, right? I use the term guys just kind of like as a catch-all phrase for everyone. Very informal. But yeah, it's open to everyone, by invite only though, shall I say. And yes, it's going to require the support of everyone, right? And that's through in the form of a membership. But they're talking about doing meetups. And we have to clarify, right? Let's operationalize this word, this term, meetup, right? Because I know it can mean different things. My mind automatically went towards the dirty side of meetup when I read this email, because I've gotten a lot of emails from you guys, and you guys have shared your experiences, mostly bad, unfortunately, which that's why y'all need to come to the workshops, because we're going to talk about safety tips too. All kinds of things that you guys have asked me to speak on here in my live videos. We're going to do this in person. And we're going to have demonstrations and role plays and all the such, right? And common amongst you guys talking to me via email is this whole narrative about having piss poor experiences meeting random motherfuckers that you didn't really get a chance to know at hotels, and running into obstacles of people not showing up, and who's going to pay for the hotel, and all these fucking bad hiccups that y'all come across. And it's unfortunate, but it's like y'all don't have to go that route. And so I get it. You guys are like, okay, well, we don't have to go to the hotel. We just come to the Clubhouse. Yes, I think you're thinking along the right lines in the terms of safety. It is going to be a safe place, right? Because I am the owner. You guys are, yes, the owner too, right? It's more like a co-op type of idea. But I'm the brains behind this. And I deal in safety first. That's just me. I'm very protective of my space. My physical space, my spiritual space, my energy field around me. So of course, the people involved in this Clubhouse, right, the other members will share in that same level of protection. I am and I will be genuinely careful and concerned about the other members, the members here in this Clubhouse. Yeah, I genuinely do care about people just in general, right? So yes, even to a higher extent when it comes to this Clubhouse project that we will be creating. And I just have to pause. Let's just pause right here, because the person that sent this email, I hope that you're watching this and you made it this far in the video so that you can answer this question for me, okay? In a reply, or send me another email because you gave me a fake email, which I don't know why you guys do that. I don't reveal your name, right? All of your communications are kept confidential. I don't disclose your personal information, so I shall have to emphasize that. Like, it's okay to use your real email. That way, I can reply to you, and you can reply to the email. But anyway, send a new email and answer me this. What do you have in mind in terms of having a safe space? And you guys can also answer the same question below, or just send me an email. What do you have in mind when it comes to safe space to meet up? What are you doing? Now, I have to say, the club, my very first BDSM club experience that I was talking about at the beginning of this video, when I was 32 years old, that I went to, yeah, all kinds of things is going down. It was like a Pandora's box. I don't know if you guys saw that movie, Pandora's box, but yeah, all kinds of things was going down up in there. They had different rooms and just, yeah, it was very mature crowd though, right? And it didn't feel like icky, yucky or anything like that. It was well managed. Just very mature crowd, very responsible, right? But this is why I think like there has to be a screening process, because imagine if it was just open to the public, all kind of motherfuckers just coming in there, and you just think that you go in there, hook up with somebody, and bust a nut, right, all over the place. Like, no, like I don't have that kind of place in mind, right? That's not the idea we're going for here. I just have to be clear. That's not it. Definitely not it. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to be a place where you can feel like sexually free to express yourself, right? I do want to create that kind of place, so if you feel comfortable disrobing, right, or being topless, like, yes, I want a place like that, but it just has to be clean. That's just my number one thing, right? We got to be clean here. And just classy with it, So, yeah, answer me that. What do you have in mind in terms of having a safe place to meet up? When you say besides hotels, because I know what goes down in hotels, right? When you're talking about meetups. So, what do you guys have in mind? All right, going back to the Q&A list. Yeah, so the question asks, is this a sex club? I say yes and no, right? Yes, because there will be sexual related things, right? Activities happening. Demonstrations, but not like what you guys have in mind necessarily, right? Not really quite that. But I have to also recall where even after I went to that BDSM private club experience for my 32nd birthday, like I was like kind of craving like more of that, right? And that was like that particular event, right, that was hosted. It was like once maybe every 3 or 4 months, right? So I was like, well, where can I go? So I was looking for other places, and I came across another one in New York, it didn't like measure up to that level of standard though, but it was all right, and people were like having intercourse. And I really like it. I was just like, I don't know. I feel like it takes like the excitement, fun, the kind of anticipation, like the thrill out of it when it's just like a space and people are just like sitting on couches and kissing and rubbing and touching, and you know, if there's a room with a bed and people are like having sex, like that, the second place I went to, right, after the first, it was kind of like that, and I didn't really like it. Let me know what you guys, I don't know, it wasn't exciting as, it's just something about like when it's not like all the way out there, you know, just like, you know, I think it's, what's the word for it? I'm trying to search for the word for it, right? It's just like porn or nudity. It's just like semi-nude. Something about being semi, you know, you're not like all the way there, just kind of like, you know, touching the surface, leaving more to the imagination. Yeah, and then, you know, once you get all worked up, then you can go to a nearby hotel, and that's on you, right? Put that liability back on you. Don't put that shit on the Clubhouse, you know? I don't know. I don't think I necessarily want to see that, though. There are some things I do want to see, right? It's just like a fine line here. It's a fine line. There are some things that I do want to see. And that's why I'm inspired to create such a place. Yeah, there are many things I want to see in person, sexually related, but just like random strangers, just fucking no, not really my thing. Like I said, this is not a hotel or a Pandora's box to have sexual encounters with random people. All right, next question. What a la carte services does the club offer? There will be many different services, including workshops, individual coaching sessions, membership profile, shall I say. And the membership profile is like more of an online community where you guys get to network. So just a little taste there of what kind of things will be offered. What is the membership profile? Like I was just saying, is where you get to shine, introduce yourself to other people in the BDSM community. So there is an actual link where you guys can sign up to express your interest in receiving free updates on this upcoming Clubhouse venture. And it's on my website at danielleleash.com /BDSM hyphen Clubhouse. Or you can just look at the link in the description below. And it's really quick. It doesn't take that long for you guys to sign up. I do ask for your name. I know a lot of y'all don't be wanting to share your name. That's okay. You can give a fake name, but eventually you're gonna have to just, I'm gonna need ID, right? Like I said, this is gonna be a more intimate, private, invite only type of deal here. So of course I will eventually know your name, but that's not really that important. It's not. Yes, I do want to know your city and state. I gotta get an idea of who's local and who will be flying in to join us. And I also want you guys on this same sign up form. I have a suggestion box for a name, y'all. We need a name for this. All right. Now I'm pretty genius about creating unique names for brands. I've already created my own brands before I've done this. I have a literary organization that I own called Ubawa. It's an African name. It's actually an acronym, but it is African as well. It's Swahili for wing, but it's an acronym that stands for Urban Books, Authors, and Writers of America. So I came up with that It took me some hours, so I ain't gonna front. Yeah, it took me a while. But once I got it, right, I was like, that's it. That's it. So I can do this by myself, but I would love for you guys to chime in and share different ideas that you have for, for a name for this clubhouse. And then I asked you guys what kind of activities you're interested in. So I do want you to, is there a checklist, right? You can check all that apply. And then say, for instance, the activities that you're interested in aren't listed. Then feel free to add your own here in the additional comment box. Click submit. It does come to my email, so I will be reading each and every one of these sign up forms that you guys submit, and we will go from there. Let's stay in touch. This is just my way of being able to know who you guys are, who's interested, and to be able to keep the open line of communication between you guys. On that note, I'm going to end this video. It was a nice, I actually want to know, like, also you guys can leave it in the comment section below or on this form that you guys submit via my website. I just want to know, like, some more of you guys' stories. I haven't heard from you guys in a while to hear, any interesting new stories. I know there have been. Y'all been kind of silent. Maybe because I did express, like, some of the shit was getting played out because y'all would be emailing me selling the same dry ass story, which I sometimes thought was the same person, just sending stories from different emails. So I was like, come on, it's getting played out. But I would like to know, and I think also I did kind of discourage you guys from messaging me because I said, like, yeah, some of y'all was getting annoying too. Just being like, talking about your fucking little ass dick, right? Which I can care less to hear about. I think what's missing is the psychological dynamic to it. And for me, that's what I'm enthralled by. And that's, that's what really reeled me in with my master, who kind of introduced me to BDSM. It was a psychological piece to it. But you guys will see more about that and how it's played out in my story, Dying to Submit. Go read the excerpts on my website. On that note, I'll catch you guys later. Till next time.